So today, in this presentation, I will be talking about concentration, the definition, what it is, what causes poor concentration, and how you can improve your concentration. So I want you to think about how would you define concentration? So before I reveal the definition I have on this presentation, I want you to briefly think about what you think concentration is. So we'll give you a few moments to do that. Right, so this is the definition I have. The action or power of focusing one's attention or mental effort on what you're doing. That is the definition of concentration. The action or power of focusing one's attention or mental effort on what you're doing. So now we're going to get into the details of concentration. So concentration, there are different levels or different stages of concentration. So the first stage or level takes 5 minutes, and it's called light concentration. And this is where you're easily distracted. And then the next stage takes about another 5 minutes. And this is called moderate concentration. So you are less distracted. You could still be distracted, but you're less distracted than in the previous level. So if you can see, this takes about 10 minutes total to get into what the majority of the hour will be, basically. So in the beginning, if you're not used to studying in 1 hour blocks, this may vary. It may take longer than 5 minutes to get into light concentration. It may take 10 minutes or so. Moderate may take the same way until you've practiced how to concentrate while you're studying. So now the next stage is, or will take, 40 minutes, and this is called deep concentration, so where you won't be distracted or easily distracted. And this is basically where you do most of your learning. This is when you can retain things more and you can concentrate on what you're learning. So this will take 40 minutes. So as you can see, it's 40 minutes plus 5 and 5. So that's 50 minutes. So that means there's 10 more minutes because there's 60 minutes in an hour. So for the last 10 minutes, basically, you want to reward yourself with a break. And this is where you'll use your reward system, like we talked about when setting goals. So you'll decide on what you're going to reward yourself for that 10-minute period. Then you'll start studying again. So again, concentration is made up of 3 different levels or stages. The first is light, second is moderate, and the third is deep. So now we're going to talk about next why people don't or are unable to concentrate. So the reason why most people can't concentrate is because of the lack of aim. So this is an acrostic and an acronym so you could remember what the causes of poor concentrations are. So the first one, lack of attention. So lack of attention is when you have difficulty focusing. Okay, the next thing is lack of interest. So lack of interest is when you don't have much interest in the topic that's being discussed or what you're studying. So that's lack of interest. So you have no interest in what you're studying or what's being presented in a lecture. The next thing is motivation. This is when you are not motivated to learn anything. For example, if you are not motivated to receive a degree or earn a degree from a college, that means it's going to be hard for you to be motivated to go to class or motivated to pay attention in class. So again, there are 3 causes of poor concentration, and it's the lack of attention, lack of interest, lack of motivation. So essentially, the causes of poor concentration is the lack of aim. So the next thing we're going to do is talk briefly about what are some of the things that you can do to improve your concentration. So we won't go into detail on it because you should have read the chapter on time management, and there will also be other moments in this class where we will talk about things that you can do to improve concentration. But let's move on to. So here are some of the strategies. So this is just some, because there could be more, strategies to ensure that you can concentrate. So there's motivational and organizational strategies. So some of the examples under there are develop a positive attitude toward your work. Create interest in your task. So essentially trying to determine what would motivate you in order to get through a task that you are not too excited about. Goal setting, time management strategies, so you should have read that in your chapter. Having a positive learning environment is another strategy. So determine the best location for you to study. So that could be at the library, it could be a particular spot in your room, it could even be a coffee shop. So the next thing is reducing multitasking. So there has been research on how human beings can basically spend 100% into a task and successfully complete it, and they found that human beings can't multitask and be 100% successful in what they're doing. So basically reducing multitasking would basically allow you to concentrate more on what you need to study or what you need to do in class. The next thing is minimizing distractions, which means eliminating things like the phone, any kind of social media, television, etc. So finding ways to minimize those so you aren't distracted, so you can concentrate on what you have to study or what you have to read or what you need to pay attention to. So those are ways to ensure that you can concentrate. Alright, so now let's talk briefly about minimizing distractions. So there are 2 distractions, or 2 types of distractions. So the first one is internal, and second one is external. So internal means thoughts, basically. So when you're worrying too much or thinking too much about something, oftentimes that's a distraction. External would mean basically things that are outside of your thoughts. Basically, it could mean noises in the room, or something else that's distracting you. It could even mean hunger, when you're hungry and that's distracting you. So those are the 2 types of distractions. So here's a question. How do you minimize these distractions? So be ready to discuss this in class.